Throughout history, people have encountered mysteries that refuse to be explained. Some were eventually forgotten. Others still haunt us today. Because no matter how many investigations are conducted, some questions remain unanswered. In the winter of 1959, deep within the frozen Ural Mountains, 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition. They were skilled, well-prepared, and confident they would return home. None of them ever did. Weeks later, rescuers reached their final campsite. What they found defied explanation. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Footprints led away into the snow, some barefoot, others wearing only socks in temperatures close to -30 degrees Celsius. Why would 9 experienced hikers leave behind their boots, their warm clothing, and every chance of survival? An avalanche, a military experiment, a powerful natural phenomenon, or something no one has ever fully explained. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the greatest mysteries of modern history. Tonight, we retrace their final journey. It was 1959. The Cold War had divided the world in the Soviet Union. Winter expeditions were a symbol of discipline, skill, and endurance. 10 members of the Ural Polytechnic Institute planned one of the most difficult ski expeditions in the country. Their leader, 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, calm, experienced, respected by everyone. His team included engineering students, radio specialists, and one decorated World War II veteran, Semyon Zolotaryov. Their destination, Ural Mountain, nearly 300 kilometers away, across forests, deep snow, and violent winds. Temperatures could fall below -30 degrees. But none of them expected danger. They believed it would simply become another successful expedition. Instead, it became one of history's greatest mysteries. On January 23, 1959, the expedition began. The group traveled by train, laughing, taking photographs, and enjoying the adventure. After several days, they reached Vizhay, the last settlement before the wilderness. There, they gathered supplies, checked their equipment, and prepared for the journey ahead. Soon after, one member, Yuri Yudin, developed severe joint pain. Igor Dyatlov made the difficult decision to send him home. The group said goodbye. They posed for one final photograph. No one realized it would be their last together. Yudin returned safely. The other 9 continued north, deeper into the mountains, farther from civilization. With every passing day, the weather worsened, and unknowingly, they moved closer to tragedy. For several days, everything went according to plan. The group skied through deep snow, crossed frozen rivers, and recorded their journey with cameras. On January 31st, they reached higher ground. There, they left behind some extra supplies, planning to collect them. On the way back, the next day, February 1st, 1959, the weather suddenly changed. Heavy snowfall, reduced visibility, powerful winds pushed the group off their planned route. Instead of reaching Otorten, they found themselves on the slope of Kholat Shiachel, known by the Mansi people as Dead Mountain. Turning back would have meant losing valuable daylight, so they made a decision. They pitched their tent on the exposed mountainside. That choice would become the final decision they ever made. No photograph, no diary, no witness can tell us exactly what happened after darkness fell. The group was expected to return within days. When no message arrived, few people worried. Winter expeditions were often delayed, but as more time passed, concern turned into fear. Rescue teams were finally organized. Students, soldiers, volunteers, and experienced mountaineers searched the frozen wilderness. On February 26th, they found the campsite. The tent was still standing, but something was terribly wrong. It had been cut open. From the inside, everything remained. Boots, heavy coats, food, cameras, personal belongings. Nothing suggested they had planned to leave. Yet, the hikers were gone. In the snow, rescuers discovered a single trail of 9 sets of footprints. They walked away calmly, not running. Some wore only socks. Others had no shoes at all. It was almost impossible to understand. Following the footprints, the rescuers reached a large cedar tree. There they found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko. Both were barely dressed. Nearby, the remains of a small fire. They had clearly tried to survive. The cedar tree itself held another clue. Several branches had been broken high above the ground. Someone had climbed the tree, perhaps to look back toward the tent. A short distance away, 3 more bodies were discovered, including Igor Dyatlov. They appeared to have been trying to return to the campsite. Now, 5 of the 9 hikers had been found, but 4 had vanished without a trace, and the mystery was only beginning. Winter refused to release the mountain. Weeks passed. The remaining 4 hikers could not be found. Only after the snow began to melt in May did the search uncover its final secret. Inside, a deep ravine covered by several meters of snow, the last 4 bodies were discovered. Unlike the others, they were better dressed. Investigators noticed some of the clothing had belonged to their dead companions. It appeared those who survived longer had taken whatever clothing they could to stay alive. But the autopsies raised even more questions. Several victims had suffered massive chest fractures. One had a severe skull fracture. Yet, there were almost no external wounds. The injuries were so powerful that experts compared them to the force of a serious car crash. What could have caused such devastating damage in the middle of an empty mountain? The investigation soon uncovered even stranger details. Several hikers had clearly died from hypothermia, but not all of them. 2 bodies were missing their eyes. 1 woman was missing her tongue. For decades, these discoveries fueled endless speculation. Investigators also detected small traces of radioactive contamination on some clothing. How it got there has never been fully explained. There were no signs of another group, no evidence of a violent struggle, no footprints except those left by the hikers themselves. Whatever happened began inside that tent, but no one knows what terrified them enough to abandon their only shelter. For more than 60 years, scientists, investigators, and independent researchers have searched for answers. The leading explanation is a small avalanche. According to this theory, the hikers feared the slope above them was collapsing. They escaped immediately, planning to return once the danger had passed. But they never could. Others believe powerful katabatic winds created a terrifying combination of noise, extreme pressure, and disorientation. Another theory points toward secret Soviet military tests. Witnesses reported strange orange lights in the sky around the same period, combined with traces of radiation. The story became fertile ground for conspiracy theories, and of course, there were the more extraordinary claims: a Yeti, aliens, even supernatural forces. Yet, none of these theories has ever been supported by convincing evidence. In 2020, Russian authorities closed the case once again. Their conclusion: a small avalanche combined with extreme weather was the most likely explanation. But even today, important questions remain. Why did the hikers cut open their own tent? Why did they leave without boots or winter clothing? And what caused the devastating injuries? Found on several victims, perhaps? The full truth disappeared forever beneath the snow of the Ural Mountains. What we know is simple. 9 young people set out on an adventure. None of them returned home, and the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most chilling and most debated mysteries in modern history. Perhaps some secrets are not meant to be solved, only remembered. And join us for the next story, where history once again reminds us that reality is often stranger than fiction. Until next time.